Welcome to Geometry Pre-AP, the greatest class in the world. Today we're going to talk about the surface area of cylinders, cones, and spheres, and how we can work with those figures and complex figures. So here is our first problem to do. We have a little cylinder here. Let me remind you of the formula for the surface area. Surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. So if I go in here and plot, this is my radius. This is my height, so 2 pi, my radius is 4 squared root of 3, times my height, which is 4, plus 2 pi 4 squared root of 3 squared. So when we simplify this, we get 32 pi squared root of 3. Oops. Plus, and this is where some of you may have some issues with squaring this. Remember, 4 squared root of 3 squared is 4 squared root of 3 times 4 squared root of 3, which is 16 squared root of 9, which brings a 3 out. So we got 48 times 2, so we get 96 pi. And so this is the surface area of this cylinder. Let's not forget that our units is in inches squared. All right, pause the video. Work this one. Let me remind you that you need to have all the examples and the ones that you're supposed to work. So pause the video and work this one. Okay, so when you're done with this one, the surface area for this figure should be equal to 110 pi feet squared. If you end up not having all the work there, I'm not going to give you credit for that problem, so make sure you show all your steps and processes. All right, so this is a problem that's going to be on the test, and so I wanted to go over a couple of these real quick with you and make sure you got these down. So it says the cylinder has a height of 5 centimeters and a surface area of 48 centimeters squared. What is the radius of the cylinder? So let's start off with the formula. 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh is equal to my surface area. I like to write it this way because they give us the surface area no one on that right side. So 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r, my height is 5, is equal to 48 pi centimeters. Now, since I have all this information here, I can cancel out the pi's since every part has a pi here. And then let's simplify this. 2r squared plus 10r equals 48. This is a quadratic, it has an r squared, so 2r squared plus 10r minus 48 equals 0. Then we look for GCFs. There's a greatest common factor, so we got r squared plus 5r minus 24 equals 0. I'm going to factor this. Got an r here and r here, and I got an 8 here and a 3 here because my factors for 24, remember, are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. I want the ones that are going to subtract because of that minus on the 24. So that's going to be a positive 8 and a negative 3. Then remember I have to solve my factors. So r plus 8 equals 0, r minus 3 equals 0, and 2 is equal to 0. This doesn't do anything for me because there's no variable there, but I like to do it anyways just in case a variable becomes in there like it does in Algebra 2. I get r is equal to negative 8 and r is equal to 3. So since I can't have a negative radius, my final answer here is r is equal to 3. You must have all this work. You cannot guess and check your way through this figure. All right, so here's one for you. Pause the video, work this problem out, make sure you show all your work, and then turn the video on when you're ready to check your answer. All right, when you get done with this one, you should get a radius is equal to 2. And actually, it'd probably be better if it's just 2 centimeters, because that's my units here. All right, so make sure you have that example, make sure you have all your work, your quadratic, your factored out, and everything. All right, so now we go to cones. For a cone, the surface area formula is pi rl plus pi r squared. For this one here, it says around, the first one should be an exact answer, and the one you're going to get to do is going to be around to the nearest thousandth. So let's check here. I've got my radius. This is my height, which I don't need. I need my slant height. So let's go down here. Let's look. Is this a Pythagorean triple? You see an 8, you see a 10. You may think it is, but it's not because the 10 is in the wrong place. So I'm going to have to say 10 squared plus 8 squared is equal to L squared. So L squared is equal to 164. So L is equal to the square root of 164, which if I work and simplify that is going to be 2 square root of 41 equals L. So now I have all my information. So pi, my radius is 8, my slant height is 2 square root of 41, plus pi 8 squared. So this is going to be 16 pi square root of 41 plus 64 pi. I can't combine any more terms together. Of course, I need my inches squared. And there is my final answer for this figure. Okay, this one's for you to do, the next one. So make sure you pause the video, work that problem out, and turn the video back on when you're ready to check your answer. All right, when you're done with this one, you should have 114.053 inches squared. And that's my total surface area. Okay, you might want to check your trig. You might want to check to make sure you plugged all your numbers in the formula, have that all written out and worked out. I would check your mode on your calculator when you're doing this problem. Make sure you actually put it in the right mode for doing angles, degrees. All right, so here's some spheres. I'm going to do one. You're going to do this other one over here. So if I look, the surface area formula for a sphere is 4 pi r squared. Let's check our information. This is my radius, so 4 times, oh, my pi there. So 4 pi 4 square root of 3 squared. Be careful squaring that 4 square root of 3. There's lots of errors that can occur there. That's going to be 16 times 3, so this is 48. And so then 48 times 3 is going to be 144 pi inches squared is my surface area. All right, so you're going to do this one over here to the side. I would treat it as a fraction and leave it in fraction form and make sure it's an exact answer. So pause the video and do this one here to the side. Okay, so when you're done with this one, your surface area should be 576 pi all over 25 feet squared units. All right. So pause the video for this one. Find the surface area of this hemisphere, and then turn the video back on when you're ready to check your answer. All right, so if we take a look at this one, you're probably thinking that the surface area of hemisphere is going to be 4 pi r squared divided by 2. And if that's what you thought, you're partially right. You're not completely right here. So if you thought the answer for this figure was 18 pi, that is wrong. Okay? Because what we have here is we have the surface area for this figure is 1/2 the hemisphere plus another circle. We got to cover up this circle right here also. So there's another circle added in. And so when I'm done with this one, I get 2 pi r squared plus pi r squared. The radiuses are the same. So really, this is 3 pi r squared. So 3 pi, my radius is 3, so square, that's 9 times 3. So my final answer here is 27 pi. And of course, centimeters squared. So it's the hemisphere, which is this outside area part, plus the green area, which is a circle. Don't forget to add that other circle in there. You just got to remember you're painting all those surfaces, so you got to cover each and every surface, and it's the sum of all those surfaces. All right, so here we have another problem. This is a complex figure problem, so if you want to pause the video and try this one first on your own, that might be a good idea, and then put the answer up here, and I'm going to work through this one. All right, so let's start by building the formula here. So I've got the perimeter times the height, which is my lateral area of my prism. Okay. Then I've got my lateral area of my cylinder, 2 pi RH. And then I got my bases, and that's where my interesting work is. I got plus my 2 bases. And my base is actually going to be equal to, in this case here, BH minus pi r squared. Okay, so I've got all these different surfaces to add together to be the total surface area. So my perimeter to start for this figure is going to be 2 times 8 plus 6, which is 14. So my perimeter is 28. So I got 28. My height for this figure, this is going to be my figure's height here, because this is right here my base. And so my height is going to be 6 plus 2 pi. My radius is here is going to be 2, and my height is going to be 6. The height for the prism, height for the cylinder hole in the middle is the same. Plus 2 times, now here's where my work comes in. My base is 8 times 6 minus pi times 2 squared. So as we start simplifying this, 28 times 6 is 168, plus 4 times 6 is 24 pi, plus 2 times 48 minus 4 pi. So 168 plus 24 pi plus 96 minus 8 pi. Let's combine like terms. And I get 264 plus 16 pi centimeters squared. So you got to really look at these figures that are complex with these holes and remember that it's the sum of all the surfaces, and that B surface is some things added and subtracted together. So I got to watch out for that part right there. Remember that that base is the shape of a rectangle with a circle, and I want the shaded part. And so that'd be the area of the hole minus the circle. All right, so here's one to do on your own. Draw this one out, work this one on your own, turn your video back on, you're ready to check your answer. Oh, by the way, this question is missing one piece of information. This is an 8. All right, work this one on your own now. Okay, when you're done with this problem, you should have a surface area for this figure as being 336 pi feet squared. Again, if you have problems with that figure, let me give you a formula to look at. So we want the lateral area of the first one, 2 pi RH. We want the lateral area of the hole, 2 pi RH. And we want the two bases, but the bases are circles minus a circle. So pi r squared minus pi r squared. Now, the heights are the same. The radiuses are not. And R1 is going to be the bigger, and R2 is going to be the smaller. And that will help you get all your numbers there if you need a little help with that. So come to class with your notes and your questions, and we'll see you on Friday for Pi Day. Have a good weekend.